What's up, cool kids, and welcome back to another episode of the Langston Frazier Show. Happy Wednesday. I'm your host, Langston Frazier. Thanks for listening to the sixth episode featuring TD Luton, owner of TD Luton Golf from Raleigh, North Carolina. Awesome episode. Great guy to have on the show. So if you haven't checked out the episode, go check it out. You don't want to miss it. But I hope everybody's doing well, continuing to stay safe, practicing safe social distancing amid this COVID-19 pandemic. It's been a crazy couple months. I know you're probably thinking, where did Langston go? Well, I'm going to tell you. School, try to finish that up. Crazy semester, finish that up. Started a new job. Moved to Delaware, so that's where I'm currently at when I'm recording this episode. But I've been doing well, staying safe, staying healthy, super important to me. But sports, we're starting to get our sports back, which is crazy. Slowly but surely, which is really good. Obviously, a whole bunch of sporting events physically have been canceled. Basketball is starting to come back. Golf is in its sixth, going on to its seventh week PGA Tour play, which is great. The ladies will be back in just a few weeks. But yes, soccer's on. Some crazy news. If you haven't heard, which broke a few weeks ago, the Washington football team is changing their name, which the owner, Dan Snyder, said would never happen, but admit, all this craziness in the Black Lives Matter movement and George Floyd, everybody's kind of waking up to the sense that some things need to change, that were kind of perceived as okay and, normalized, starting to change. So that's really good that things are changing and kind of getting better for all of us. In college news, a whole bunch of college teams and college kind of departments and conferences are cutting their fall seasons as of right now. I know my conference, which is the MEAC, which my school sits in, which is the Middle Atlantic Athletic Conference, has cut their fall season, so we won't see sports until spring, which is crazy to think about. But with the world and how it is right now, it's just what we got to deal with. But we're trying to make the best out of it, and do what we can do. But NASCAR is back. They've had some incidents in the recent weeks with some of their drivers, as far as kind of Confederate flag and racism and horrible rhetoric kind of going on, which is really not good. But I'm glad to see that the kind of NASCAR is trying to stand up for particular drivers and kind of say, hey, that's not okay, which is good to see. And golf news, which this is not a golf particular podcast, but we like to have people who play golf. Tiger Woods just recently got off of his first start back in a couple weeks since the start of the pandemic. Did not play very well at Jack's Place. Did not play well at all, to be quite honest with you. Hopefully he gets better. Obviously his back is a similar thing that he keeps going through. Hopefully he gets better and comes back, because from what I've checked, we're going to have about 5 to 6 majors in about a 7-month span, which is absolutely crazy. But it's Wednesday morning. I'm glad you guys are here. Jon Rahm is the number one player in the world, the first Spaniard since Seve. He's to do it. 25 years old. Super cool. So glad for him and his great play that he had this weekend. Hockey's back. The minor league completely cut. They completely shut down their season. It's not happening. Baseball, super weird. But apparently they're starting to have baseball again, which is nice. To kind of take our minds off of everything that people are going through and whatnot. Um, but yeah, whole bunch of big college basketball news, whole bunch of transfers and new players. Some people that thought these headliner, type 5-star recruits were going to go to these big name schools are going to HBCUs. Wasn't expecting that, but it's happening, which is super, super cool. I'm glad for them. Wisconsin just announced their football home is going to be put. That was a $75 or $77 million renovation that's going to be put on hold. Super, important that it gets done. Most likely to their fans and their players and whatnot. But as of right now, I see where they're coming out from that decision. If you missed it a few weeks ago, Damon Hack hosted a Race in America in Sports conversation on Golf Channel and not NSNBC, but NBC Sports. I thought it was a great conversation about the black community and how it's able to kind of open doors to golf and how certain bodies have to be held accountable for some of their actions, which is super good that we're having this conversation. I think it's a little long overdue, but it's happening, which is good. For the most part, all of golf across the United States is open for play. So if you haven't gotten to play around the golf, make sure you go do that. I think it's super, super important that you get out there, get some exercise, get some fresh air, but always check your restrictions in your area. You can go to golfnow.com to book those tee times if you want to. I love the website. I think it's super, super great. But check them out. You can also check out all your latest sports at NBCSports.com. If you missed anything for all the latest sports news. But most importantly, we're here for the interview. And it's time for the interview. I sit down this week virtually with one of my favorite people. She's a PGA professional out of Atlanta, Georgia, Jasmin Cunningham. We had an awesome conversation. You're really going to enjoy it. But first, let's hear from our sponsors at Anchor. And with that, let's dive in to the 7th episode of the Langston Frazier Show. Okay, guys, welcome back. We're out for our quick little break, sponsored by Anchor. But now it's time for the interview. Jasmin Cunningham is virtually joining me from Atlanta, Georgia. She's from Atlanta, Georgia, but she's currently in Florida. Jasmin, welcome to the Langston Frazier Show. So glad to have you.
Thank you, Langston. I'm happy to be here.
So how's everything going? How's the family?
Everybody's good. I'm good, trying to figure out life with this coronavirus. So just, trying to get back in the groove of things and, dealing with this hot weather as well, but trying to get out and play some golf. So I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It's a great day. It's Wednesday. It's another day for a podcast. Just got done with our junior camps. They're still kind of going, but just got done with our session today. Went really, really well.
Nice.
And so we're looking for another session tomorrow before Friday shows up. And we have our big pizza party for all our junior golfers, which is rare because a lot of the junior golfers and the junior camps in the area are kind of closed down. But we're, small enough of a club to do it with not a whole bunch of kids. We got like 15 kids, so 3 instructors, five a person. Works out perfectly.
Nice.
But I'm doing great. My family's doing well. Decided, it's like, hey, I need somebody really, really cool to be on this podcast. I was like, hey, let me call you.
Oh my goodness. I appreciate it so much, Langston, even though you're way cooler than I am though. So
Oh, please don't say that. Don't say that. Well, I kind of jumped the gun as far as what I typically do with this podcast, and I do with my other podcast, which is probably the most important part of the interview, which I spoiled for people if they paid attention in the first 15 seconds of the podcast. Where are you originally from? And can you describe it in 3 words and why?
Well, first of all, I feel special that I'm you're doing things out of the norm for me. But okay, you said describe where I'm from in 3 words, right?
Right. Where are you from, and describe it in 3 words.
Okay, so I'm from Atlanta. When I think of Atlanta, I think of peaches, I think of turnip, and I think of black excellence.
Ooh, black excellence. Okay,
Yes.
so that's a common trend. She has folks. She's followed the trend of the other guest on this show, where she's taken 2 words and put a dash in the middle of it and tried to turn it into 3 words. But we'll count it. Go ahead, break it down for us. Georgia peaches. Break it down for us.
Georgia has the best peaches. Georgia is obviously that's the Georgia's the peach state. So we have the freshest, juiciest peaches, especially now during the season. So that's where peaches come from. And I think what was next? Turnip, right? Atlanta
Right.
is like, when I think of Atlanta, even if I wasn't from there, I think of the turnip city. I just feel like that's where everybody is. That's where a lot of stuff happens. The music industry. Atlanta's just popping. And then we go into Black excellence. So I said Black excellence because I'm from Atlanta, so I have to say that. But there's just so many great Black people that are from Atlanta. Our mayor Keisha, like she's amazing. So
You say so casually like you know her.
I wish. But I think that's another thing that we do, right? Like, she's from Atlanta. We don't know each other, but we know each other. So
Right.
yeah. So just Black excellence at its finest. So
Very cool. So I got a little wacky question for you. What's your best variety of peaches? What's your favorite way to have it?
I like to just eat it. I just like to eat the peach, but I do love like peach cobbler. That's like my favorite.
Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty good. Me, I don't know. Peaches are weird. I love like peach flavored things,
Mm-hmm.
but I just won't eat a peach in itself. I just won't
Really?
do it. I won't. It's very strange, but I love me some peach yogurt.
So
I
will
don't
you
know
eat it
why.
sliced? Like if it was sliced?
Yeah, I'll eat a slice,
Yeah.
but it's very rare. I kind of went through that kind of phase
Mm-hmm.
during my middle school days where I was like, oh, braces, and you have to cut everything up. Everybody knows how that goes. You cut it up, and you have to like you can't like shove it down your mouth because you got wires and metal in front of your face. So you
Right.
cut everything up, and so I don't know. I kind of just got in this weird kind of thing where after the fact, I just don't, um, you know, eat peaches whole anymore. But I don't know.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's the fun, uh, I guess, wacky portion of the show where we
Love
kind
it.
of get to figure out where our guests are from. Now, um, obviously, this whole COVID-19 pandemic, it's all around us, and people are dealing with it in their own special way. Um, you had the unique, um, I guess, ability and also challenge to kind of you're living by yourself and you're working full time, but you are in this kind of age where you get to work um, at home. What's that been like the last couple months? You kind of hanging out at home and working and whatnot.
Yeah, so I originally went home to Atlanta back in March. So I stayed for about 4 months, and then I came back here to Jacksonville. So working from home it's not weird to me, and I think I adjusted pretty well to it because I'm a homebody in general. So I think everyone had to be accustomed to working from home and be a homebody, if that makes sense. But for me, it just came supernatural. So I've been working from home. I admit I have gotten into a little bit of a slump. So I've been trying to work out the past few days, go on walks early in the morning, just to get my mind together. I love doing yoga, so I'll do that as well. But just trying to stay positive, really, I think is the toughest thing for me, because we're living in a world of uncertainty right now. So,
Right.
and I'm such a planner. So being that I can't plan anything,
Yeah, how's that been?
it's so weird. It is so weird because I've always had everything planned, and now it's just like everything has just come to a halt. So I think, in hindsight, it is kind of a good thing because it forces me to slow down and really just like live in the moment. But it's definitely an adjustment. But yeah, I think all in all, though, I think it's been interesting, and I think that I do enjoy working from home for the most part. So.
But the interesting thing about that whole answer is you never gave away where you work. But we'll get back to that
Okay.
because it relates to this next question: is who or what got you into the game of golf?
So hilarious. But my dad put me in the first tee of Metro Atlanta when I was 10. And I hated golf because, you watch golf on TV, you don't see anybody black, especially women. And of course, I was growing up in the time of Tiger Woods, so I would see Tiger, but at the end of the day, Tiger's not a female. So I was like, oh my gosh, my friends are not playing golf. I don't want to play golf. So I would literally just go to class on Saturdays. But once I got into high school, I expressed to my parents that I wanted to go out of state to college. And they were like, well, you need to go on a scholarship. And my dad's like, look, there's so much money for black women golfers out there. He was like, you need to get on that. So,
Right. Can you just pause?
yeah.
Pause a second and say it again for the people in the back who didn't hear that.
There's so much money for black women golfers out there as far as scholarship wise to college that a lot of people don't know about. And you don't even necessarily have to be that good, but there's just so much money just sitting there and they don't know what to do with it. So that's kind of how my journey started. Daryl Beatty, who's a PGA member, he was my mentor growing up, golf coach, everything. And he put me in contact with some people and kind of just made it happen. So now it's funny that Langston said that because I now actually work for the First Tee headquarters. So it's how I got my start, and it was my first real job out of college, my first full-time job out of college. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. Well, you've kind of had some interesting stops along the way. Obviously, you went to university. Everybody's big thing. They're like graduating from high school or wherever they're graduating from, and the first thing they think of is let me get out of the house and get away from my parents 9 out of 10 times. So what do? You go from Georgia all the way to Maryland to University of Maryland Eastern Shore in Princess Anne, Maryland.
Yeah.
Rural as I don't know what. Far away from the hustle and bustle of Atlanta, Georgia. Tell us how your kind of experience was at UMES and kind of tell us your overall experience.
So my overall experience was amazing. I think, growing up playing golf as a black person, I think, especially in Atlanta, like everybody knew each other. So definitely grew up with some people, and obviously not even in Atlanta, but just, across the country, you meet so many different black golfers and we're all connected in a way. So I was able to connect with some people before I even went to school. And I knew some people prior to going. So once I got to school, once I got to UMES, it was not that big of a culture shift for me, or a change, because I had people that were black and played golf. And that was so not normal to me growing up. So now that I got to be a part of that small family like community, it was very inspiring to me. And I also have family in Maryland, and I think I was just ready to go. So I never was homesick. I just really, really enjoyed my time at UMES, and I think the black golf community is so it obviously I don't want to overuse the word family oriented, but especially at UMES, like we do everything together. So
Right.
so it was definitely a good experience for me.
That's really cool. But one of the awesome things you kind of mentioned just a few minutes ago is there's scholarships out there for everyone, and including black female golfers and minority female golfers. Um, UMES, if you don't know and you haven't listened to any of the other episodes I've done, go back and listen to them, obviously. But UMES is a HBCU, and it's the only one in the country to have a PGA of America accredited program that kind of specializes in PGA golf management. It also has the ability to have a Division I golf team. Now, the cool part about that is, obviously we have a men's golf team. Yes, that's cool, and we have some great players. We also have some great players on the female side of things. But you're like in the first class per se of this golf team when it first kind of came to its inception of Division 1 golf at the athletic term, Maryland Eastern Shore. So how was that time for you playing Division 1 golf?
It was great. I was at a weird point in my life because I was a senior. I think I only had like 1 or 2 classes at the time. So I was ready to graduate, but I was like, this would definitely be a good opportunity for me to travel, meet new people, and just play golf. So it was a good opportunity. I'm really glad I got to experience it, and just being, a part of the inaugural women's golf team there was definitely something special to remember. So definitely had a lot of fun. Definitely enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, just being around other Black HBCUs, or Black people that play golf at HBCUs, was definitely, an overwhelming experience for me, because that just makes me happy. It's not something you see every day.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think your favorite memory was of being on the golf team? It's a rare feat that people get to do, especially play, golf at that level. What's your favorite experience from playing on the women's golf team?
My favorite has got to be the long bus trips. Now, for those who don't know, we never flew anywhere. We flew a few places, but majority of the time we drove in a van, and most of our golf tournaments were down south. So you can only imagine that would be a 5 or 4 day trip. So spending so much time with, the men's golf team and just the women's golf team, it was definitely long trips. But we had so much fun. And like I said, it was just, pretty much everyone was already a PGM major that was on the golf team as well. So everybody already knew each other. So we definitely had a lot of fun together. So I guess my favorite memory would definitely be the bus trips, even though we all hated it because we were gone for so long. I think in hindsight, it definitely brought all of us closer, and it gave us a better appreciation for one another as well. So.
Nice, nice. Well, one of the biggest things that I'm kind of noticing out of this conversation is your love of travel. You've been and you've worked at some pretty cool places. You worked at Columbia Country Club in Bethesda, Maryland. You worked with Titleist. You've worked at the PGA of America. You've worked all over the country. Tell us about your internship experience while you were in school and kind of how that helped you today in your current role.
Yeah, so I think that, definitely working at Columbia, I love working with people, and I love helping people. So I think that, definitely working at Columbia was amazing for me. Definitely gave me a lot of good experiences, and I was able to learn a lot. And I love the DC area in general, so it was definitely a good place to be. And you meet some pretty good people. I mean, you get to network, which is huge. And then when I went to go work for Titleist, I actually went back to Atlanta, and I was a golf ball fitter. So it was a very interesting internship because I had never heard of that before. And
Yeah, what's a golf ball fitter? So like for people who aren't into really golf, and I get this a lot from our members at our club, like, oh, it's just a golf ball. What does it actually do? Tell us like the perks of having the right golf ball for you.
yeah, so a golf ball fitter is someone who, just like a club fitter, right? So a lot of people don't know this, or they may know, but they, just don't care. But there's a different type of golf ball for everyone. Golf balls are all different. They're all made different. And it really tailors to how you play golf, what your preferences are. If you like a firm ball, if you like a softball. So that's what I did. I would go travel to different golf courses. I would give away samples of Titleist balls, and I would help people figure out what kind of golf ball they should hit, basically. So gave them a sample. That way they can test it out. And a lot of people said that they felt different. Some didn't. But yeah, I think that, as important as golf clubs are, the golf ball is definitely just as important. So yeah, definitely the golf ball definitely does matter. Whatever level that you're at, whether you're experienced, not that much experience, I think that it definitely has an effect on your game more than people think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So tell us about your time. You go to one of the biggest uh, golf organizations in the world, PGA of America, to work at their headquarters in Florida, which is always a great place to be because it's warm and it's sunny, and it's just great vibes down there. Tell us about your time at the PGA.
Absolutely. So West Palm Beach is beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful places I've been in Florida. One of the most beautiful cities. So the PGA of America internship was good. I worked in the diversity and inclusion department, which was very different because I got to do something that I was very passionate about. I'm very passionate about diversity, and I definitely want to, be a part of making that difference. And it was just so interesting to see how things work behind closed doors. So yeah, definitely a good experience for me. I got to see what a lot of people don't see, which is good. And also being a PGA member, kind of works hand in hand with me working there. So definitely an experience I won't forget.
Definitely. So that kind of opens the door kind of into this Black Lives Matter kind of movement that's been going on across the country for really the last several years. The killings of a whole bunch of unarmed black men and people kind of getting beat down and kind of beat in the dirt with just how the way they're treated and whatnot. What are your kind of thoughts on the Black Lives Matter? Not really as it pertains to golf, but the overall subject.
Yeah, and I will say this, I forgot to mention this, but also at my time at the PGA of America, I helped plan the PGA Works Collegiate Championship, which was known as PGA Minority. So being a part of that and also playing in it, in previous years was amazing because I got to actually see everything behind the scenes, and have a long lasting impact on HBCU golf. But going back to the Black Lives Matter, I think that it's a pivotal time for every Black person in America, not even Black, but just everyone. And I think that right now is the best time for us to take advantage of that. And we're months away from everything that's happened, I think that we just have to use this time as to our advantage before it will never go away to us, especially. But just really capitalizing on that and seeing what companies are doing, what companies have said things. I think that's probably the most important thing, to me at least, because I get to see what companies actually have spoken up about it. What they're doing about it, which is the most important part. Because we can say what we're going to do all day, but what are you actually doing to make a difference? So I think that this is very long overdue. But I think it's what our country needed. So
I agree. In the fact that kind of this whole COVID-19 pandemic kind of happened exactly as this was kind of kicking off into a new realm, if you want to say, of sorts, probably not most likely in a positive way.
right.
I think it's really put all the attention on issues that people, care about the most.
Or they don't deal with. They know
Right.
it's going on, but they don't know how to deal with it, or they just are blind to a lot of the things that are happening. And I think this definitely put into perspective, what really goes on, and what, had that not been recorded, that's still something that Black people deal with on a daily basis. But it takes a recording to actually show people, like, hey, this really does happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So kind of transitioning off of that, um, with the state of golf, kind of being one of these, um, mostly viewed as a rich man sport. How can we kind of make golf more inclusive, and how do you think the state of the coronavirus is really going to have a long term effect on the game of golf?
So I will say that, I mean, I think that Black golfers right now as a whole, we need to come together and kind of work together. I think that's just to get more people involved, because a lot of Black people who don't play golf, they don't know that there's a whole nother world of Black golfers out there. They don't know that we play golf, so they're not gonna want to. Kids want to be LeBron. Kids want to be football players and basketball players because that's what they see on TV. But if they're not seeing Black golfers on TV, how will they know they want to play? So I think, as a Black community, we need to get out there, volunteer at First Tee chapters, as so many are doing. But just to make it known that it's not a lame sport, that, there are so many different connections you can make, different networking opportunities you can have through golf. but yeah, I would say just kind of normalizing it more. And Eastside Golf is really doing a great job with doing that. Every day on the Instagram page, I just it's just so much Black excellence on that page.
Right.
And it's just a relaxed environment. Like it's not like what people think about golf. Like it's a rich white sport. But if you go on Eastside Golf's Instagram, you won't think that
Yeah,
anymore.
you
And
won't think that.
you'll be interested in like wanting to go out and play. And I think that I really love what they're doing. They're doing such a great job with, like I said, normalizing it and just, making it more comfortable for Black people to actually want to go out there.
Right. So, if anybody doesn't really know what Eastside Golf is, Eastside Golf was created by Earl Cooper, who was a PGA professional, and Lajuan. I don't know his last name. It's just
A
slipping out of
Janaku.
my head.
I think it's a Janaku.
Jonaku,
Yeah.
that sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of created this fashion lifestyle brand of kind of making golf more accessible as far as, the fashion side of it and how you learn how to play golf and how it's perceived in the media and by other people in the community. But if you haven't checked them out, go check them out. They're at Eastside Golf on like everything. They probably have a website. I know they have a website. They have a Facebook. They have an Instagram, Twitter. Just search it beside golf. You'll thank us later. But it's a great, great organization and a great kind of brand that they've kind of made up um, to kind of support the golf industry. And I think they're going to some big places right now, and they got a lot in their pipeline. And Earl Cooper is both a really good friend of ours, and uh, yeah, nothing but the best for them. But hey, go check them out. I think they're really, really um, a good group to hang out with. But yeah, but going kind of into this next kind of question as we kind of start to wrap this up, um, is you're in a line of work, and you mentioned it earlier, you're in a line of work that people aren't usually used to seeing people like you in, which is that you work at the first tee, and you're also working in training and curriculum, which is basically like the learning of how people kind of conceptualize and kind of transfer and kind of digest these programs, these great programs that First Tee kind of puts together. Tell us about that, and kind of how it has a impact on you and some of the ideas and kind of things and motions that you put in place. Okay, so technical difficulties. What happened was we were in the middle of a great conversation talking about kind of Black Lives Matter and this great business called Eastside Golf, where we want you to kind of go and check them out. But Jasmine was given a great answer, and our audio just cut out. So Jasmine, go ahead and tell the people where they can find Eastside Golf.
My apologies, but no, absolutely. Go check out Eastside Golf on their Instagram. Go support a Black-owned business, especially in golf. And I'm pretty sure that their link to their website to purchase merch is in their bio. So definitely go check them out. High quality, good quality stuff. So yeah, definitely would be happy with it.
So you mentioned a little earlier um, how you were kind of first tee kind of started your journey into golf, especially with your dad teaching the game of golf. How does that really work and translate into your current job as being kind of a coordinator of training and curriculum, which is like the education and how people digest programs and learn programs with this great organization called the First Tee?
Yeah, so I work in the coach training curriculum department. And basically, we have about 150 locations across the country. And we have participants who obviously have different skill levels. So we have to have coaches that are able to train on those different levels. So I help with the logistics side of getting the adults trained. We have about 10 trainings that the headquarters hosts every year. Obviously, it's not happening right now, but we host about 10 trainings across the country, and I help with getting everything set up logistic wise. And also in our department, I help out with scholarships, so which is definitely cool. But yeah, that's about it. Helping with the trainings, helping the coaches on a day-to-day basis get set up online with their training, and just making sure they're prepared to coach our participants.
Nice. That seems like a really kind of interesting job where you just don't know what you're going to see when you walk into work every day. Um,
Absolutely.
and it seems that you're kind of like in the education side of golf, which
Hmm.
is something that a lot of people don't see. Like we were saying earlier, a lot of people see golf just one way, but they don't see that you can have a career in golf. And you don't necessarily have to be a teaching pro to be in the industry. You're, well off in the industry with your career, with the first tee and a whole various amounts of organizations, doing something that you're passionate about, but it's something that kind of breaks
Yeah.
the mold of what a typical golf professional looks like.
And that was something that was really important to me, as I, progressed through college. Was I knew I did not want to work at a golf course. I did not want to be a head pro. I didn't want to be an assistant. Everybody wanted to be that, or a teacher, and I just did not want to be that. I wanted to, really experience what the business side of golf was really like. So I was fortunate enough to have, some really good internships, and obviously a great job now where I can do that and also have a larger impact, because I am on the D&I committee, of the first tee, which is pretty cool. So I definitely, get to see things work from the top down, which I've always wanted to be a part of. So definitely a great opportunity.
Nice. So as we kind of wrap this up, where do you see yourself within the next 5 years?
So interesting. I was just trying to figure that out the other day. I was talking to one of my friends, and it's so hard to kind of plan that with COVID, because you just don't know. But I definitely want to have a long lasting impact through diversity within golf. I definitely, still want to stay engaged within the Black golf community, and I just want to help people. I want to help, educate people who, high schoolers that are not aware of the PGM programs. That's my biggest thing, because a lot of people that I talk to, once they're in college, they never knew that it existed. And they say, well, had I known that I could have went to school for this, then I would have definitely done it. So I think really just educating people on PGM universities and just really introducing golf to the Black community, and going to the communities where golf is not, represented well. So, donating golf clubs, just really volunteering and continuing to do, what I do now is, what I'll continue to do. So I just want to continue to have an impact, a long lasting impact. And I definitely want that to, be a main, focus within my job career as well.
Well, that's really weird that you mentioned that, because my next question you literally answered, which is kind of weird. Cause I want to see if you have a copy of my script here, and it looks like you don't. My next question literally here says, "What advice do you have for young people in high school getting interested into your line of work?" Which you basically answered it. But if you have anything else you want
Yeah.
to add.
No, I'll definitely add. I think that, just really do your research. And I know, as for me, I never knew what a PGM university was about 5 months before I even went to UMES. Didn't know where UMES was, didn't know anything about the program. So I would really encourage high schoolers who want to get in the golf industry to really find a PGA professional in their area, especially if they're African American. Connect with them and talk with them and discuss different opportunities that you can have within the golf industry. And I think that's one of the most untapped resources that, we don't think of. And I was fortunate enough to have people that I knew that were PGA professionals. And had I not known them, I definitely would not have the opportunities that I've had now. So, and definitely just, be different and be outside the box, and think outside the box. Don't just play your regular sport, be different, because there's so much opportunity for Black people who play golf.
That's a great point, and I couldn't say any better than that. To be quite honest with you, uh, one of the quick things I want to do before we go, I kind of do it with all my guests. It's a fast five, kind of questions, real quick, off the tongue answers of some common golf questions that people might want to know. What is your
Oh, I might not know the
what
answer.
is your dream foursome? You included.
Wow. Okay. Ooh, okay, that's
I got
interesting.
her.
My dream foursome. Oh, you did. You definitely did. I definitely would love to play with Tiger. I mean, who wouldn't want to play with Tiger? Um, my dream foursome would definitely be Tiger. I want to throw a little dash of Calvin Pete in there, as well. I would love to play with Dustin, of course. So yeah, I guess that's my three people: Calvin Pete, Tiger, and Dustin.
There we go. That's a good foursome.
Yeah,
Kind of classic,
yeah,
and kind of modern, and just tearing up the game because Dustin Johnson's just a great guy,
yeah.
overall. And I would love to play with him too. He seems like a pretty cool dude. But here's a question that I know you know the answer to. What is your go-to outfit or fashion statement on the golf course?
Gotta have, lately I've been loving like a nice printed golf skirt. Like not just a solid color, but a nice printed golf skirt with a solid top, or flip it and wear a striped polo with a solid bottom. But love a golf skirt. I haven't really gotten to dresses yet on the course, but definitely love a good golf skirt. And maybe we might go sleeveless because we're in hot Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely a staple.
Nice. What's your favorite golf course you have ever played or would like to play?
I would have to say honestly, Grandfather Country Club. When I interned there when I was a sophomore, it's in North Carolina. It's not. It's probably about 30 minutes from Boone, North Carolina. So it's in the mountains, and the place is just beautiful. Mountains, everything. It's just breathtaking. It is one of the most beautiful places I've been.
Hmm. That's I kind
Yeah.
of forgot you went there. 'Cause I remember that
Mhm.
was kind of a big deal. I know we sent a couple people up there, that summer,
Yeah.
and it was a ball of a time from what I heard from the pictures that I got.
Yeah, yeah, it's just beautiful. I mean, and it makes me appreciate just, traveling that much more because I mean, when I travel now, I'm not thinking about going to the mountains, but since I've been there and interned there, like I would definitely want to go back.
Right. So my next question, before we get to the final one, is what is your go-to golf shot?
Go to golf shot. I would have to say 80 yard in. 80 yards in, that's probably one of my favorite golf shots.
Kids, for the kids that are listening, she did not say driver. She did not say a long iron. She did not say, some wacky trick shot. She said 80 yards and in. Practice
Most important shot to
your
me.
short game, and you will be
Yes.
fine. Practice your short game. And the last question I have, what's currently in the bag for you?
I need to definitely upgrade my bag, but I have TaylorMade irons right now. Um, and I have the Rocket Blades.
Ooh,
So definitely, yeah, I
that's one of the
need
best
to
irons they
upgrade.
ever made.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I haven't let them go yet. And I still am on my Callaway Epic, uh, thing. I still have that going on. So Callaway Epic driver, Callaway Epic 3 wood. Um, and that's about it. I have a TaylorMade spider putter as well, but pretty much everything else is TaylorMade.
Nice. Nice. Not a bad company to be with.
Yeah.
Not a shameless plug, but they're pretty good.
Absolutely.
But before we really let you go, the most important part, besides getting to know where you're from, is where can the good people connect with you?
Definitely on Instagram. My Instagram name is Jasmine Drew, so spelled JasminDrewe. So that's where I am majority of the time.
Nice. And I failed to mention this really, really, really cool fact about you. You are
Hmm.
the eighth African American female elected into membership of the PGA of America. What does that mean to you?
Oh my God, it definitely means a lot. But on the other hand, it's like we have so much more work to do. Renee Powell became a PGA member in 1996, which was the year I was born. So 24 years ago, and we still only have eight. So definitely one of the biggest accomplishments I've had in my life. But thus far, but it definitely shows that we still have a lot of work to do. Um, so yeah, but nevertheless, it's a great accomplishment. Something that I hate to brag about. But yeah, I'm just hoping that, within the next 10 years, you know, I'm hoping there'll be many more.
That's amazing, and I hope it continues to grow and get better. I hope your career gets bigger and better as the years go on, and we can see you at the top of your game and say, "Hey, I knew her when." That's gonna be a great kind of day for all of us. But folks, she's Jasmin Cunningham of Atlanta, Georgia, coordinator of training and curriculum at the First Tee at headquarters. Jasmin, thanks for coming on the Langston Frazier Show. I greatly appreciate it.
Langston, thank you so much for having me. Definitely an honor to be on this amazing podcast. Like, I mean, I come after great people. I come after DeMarcus. Like, I am just honored to have been here and talk with you, and I so appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, we'll do it again. Hopefully, when this whole COVID thing kind of dies down and we get a few more episodes under a belt, we can kind of do a live one with a whole group of people. Um,
Oh,
and I'm
yes.
thinking of some great ideas and some great locations that you can possibly think of. And I think we're thinking of the same location. Hopefully, one of these days we can do it.
I'm loving it. I am so here for it.
Absolutely, Jasmin. It's been a pleasure. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Lane. Keep up the good work. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to my conversation with Jasmin Cunningham. She's a great, great person. Couldn't speak of her more highly. Wonderful golfer, great person to learn from. If you get to meet her in person, she's just like she was on the conversation and on the show. Go check her out on Instagram, get to know her, pick her brain. She's super, super smart, great golfer. And yeah, probably look forward to having another conversation with her down the road. But before we go, check out my other podcast. It's called The Talk of the Shore. It's an audio version, and we're also on YouTube. Just search the hashtag TalkShore or Talk at the Shore podcast. And if you're interested in playing in some competitive golf, some amateur golf, check out the tour sponsored by Under Armour for opportunities on the eastern shore of Maryland and nationally. Just visit esgmagazine.com. Click on the tour info tab for more information. And one of the other things, we can't forget about the juniors. All new year this year, it's a brand new junior tour powered by Under Armour. It's called the Junior Tour, powered by Under Armour. It's 9 leagues across the country, teed up in 6 9-hole matches, where the top 12 players in each region will advance to the junior kind of championship. It's the Under Armour Junior Golf National Championship, taking place in just a few weeks in Orlando. Those places have already been set at Disney Golf, but make sure you sign up. Registration opens soon for the fall leagues for a chance to go down to the IMG Academy in Florida. For more information and to sign up, visit uagolftour.com. And connect with me on social media. I'm at Langston Frazier on Twitter. Let us know who you want to hear from next and what topics you want us to cover using the hashtag TLFSPod. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, rate, and most importantly, don't forget to share the podcast. You can find the Langston Frazier Show podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Google Podcasts, and Anchor, along with so many other more platforms. So subscribe wherever you are to get your podcast in your feed. And don't forget, just search TLFS Pod or The Langston Frazier Show. Until next time, I'm your host, Langston Frazier. Stay safe, stay healthy, practice safe social distancing, don't touch your face, and most importantly, wash your hands and wear a mask. We'll see you back here next time for another episode of The Langston Frazier Show.